There we go. Test 1, 2. So, do you want to do an official like bringing us in?
No,
moment?
no.
We'll
We can just
bullshit and see where we go.
David, when did you first start rocking?
Well, so I think it all started when I was about 15 years old, and I saw Van Halen with David Lee Roth at the Hollywood Sports Center or Civic Center or something like that.
So
15,000 people.
Did you grow up in LA or did you go out there
No,
for
this is
the show?
Hollywood, Florida.
Oh, Hollywood, Florida.
Oh my God.
That's where I'm from.
I'm from Miami, yeah.
Oh, that's
are you?
amazing.
No, I went to Hollywood Hills Elementary, actually. But yeah, I'm from Broward. I'm from Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, so what was it, the Hollywood? I don't even know if it's still there. It used to be one road in and one road out. Anyway,
Yeah.
my I was just blown away by Van Halen, and after my ears stopped ringing, I joined a band.
So that was it, and
Yeah.
that was in Miami.
Yeah.
And this is
your
at
start.
what age?
I was 15.
Yeah.
So I was in a band in high school, a band in college. I was even in a band in law school, and then just in and out of bands. Between that and sports, like played a lot of tennis. So it kind of, sometimes I'd just do one or the other. Sometimes I'd do both.
There's this temptation to kind of collapse and choose one path or the other, but it sounds like you just kept on refusing. Was that an intentional decision or?
I think it was undiagnosed ADHD. They didn't used to have that as a diagnosis. And I just kind of always have done what I thought was fun and that I was passionate about. And sometimes I would do it so much that I'd get burned out on it and go do something else. And
Was there ever a moment where you got like a serious, I don't know, cartoon talk about like, listen, son, you're doing too much rocking and you need to do more loitering?
well, after college, I tried to play the pro tennis tour. Didn't have that much success, and I had no money. So I was working at it was a training ground for people to be pro tennis players, and I was a live-in coach. So I had my own place on the beach. I mean, not on the beach, on the golf course, and they gave me a vehicle to drive, and I just got paid cash every week for playing tennis with other really
And
great
this is in
players.
Florida.
This is in Florida. This is Gary Kessel's Academy in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
And then at night, I was singing in a band, at least one band. I might have been in two bands, and I just thought it was awesome.
Dude, that is in existence.
All right.
That is a.
Then my mom came and told me that I should at least apply because I'm wasting my brain, or at least apply to law school or whatever. So I did. And then all that stuff that seemed so awesome was kind of getting a little bit old, and I got in. So I was like, well, maybe I'll do something else. So I went to law school.
There's my daughter is about to go to college and she really resents this sense of a backup plan or having, a safe fallback or whatever. Did you feel any of that at that time?
Because those are very like aspirational things, rock star and tennis player. It tends to be leave everything else behind and focus on this sole monastic pursuit.
Yeah, I kind of wish I was raised different. I was raised in Miami and very materialistic. And,
Yeah, dude.
Florida man is not in.
So a lot of things, very, very money driven. So, she kind of preyed on my insecurities a little bit, about that, Dick. And, I can't complain now, but there was definitely times where I wish had focused on other things more.
Yeah. But it sounds like you didn't have any resentment as you went through, the steps to become an attorney.
Well, I loved law school. I couldn't believe how much I loved law school.
Where'd you go to law school?
I went to Mercer University in Macon, Georgia.
It seems like a bit of a shift in cultures from Miami, Macon.
Yeah, well, I had gone for my first 2 years of college to Samford University. I had a tennis scholarship in Birmingham, Alabama, and so I'd already been in the South.
Okay.
And even though I was from Miami, I just loved the Southern people. I thought they were awesome. They were so more down to earth and real
And polite.
Well, because we're talking about Miami in the '80s when like Miami was Miami.
Well, you're even talking about it older than that. Like I was born in '62.
Okay. So this is the birth of really like what Miami kind of like became, because you watch old movies about Miami or even anywhere in South Florida in the 50s and it's like a hot dog stand and then like a field and that was like the beach, and then everything sort of blows up over the next 3 decades.
Yeah. But still, it's a weird mix of people. You have a lot of island people, and a lot of them can be kind of aggressive. You have a lot of people from New York who are kind of aggressive. You have a lot of retirees, or a lot of them were grouchy.
Oh yeah,
and it's just
especially the French Canadians.
it's just a weird. It was a weird mix.
It's an annoying migration.
Couldn't wait to get out.
Yeah. So you were done. That is something that I found a lot with South Florida, and as somebody who got the hell out of South Florida, like I still love it, but it's like when you grow up around it, and it's like, oh, here's the beach, and it's kind of nice, and people vacation here all the time. It's like, all right, well then, if you're a young person, you're like, do I just die? Like, is that just like, do I just fast forward the rest of my life and this is everything that I ever see? If this is where people come, like I'm at the end. Should I start somewhere else? Should I go and do it? And it sounds like that's what you did through law school and tennis stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I just went where I could.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, so you did undergrad on a tennis scholarship in Alabama. Where next?
Well, I did 2 years. Then I switched to went back to South Florida. Went to Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton.
FAU. I played there.
Yeah, so I played tennis for them. I had a scholarship there.
Yeah.
And then I got into law school. After FAU, I tried to play. I was playing.
That's when you were at the academy.
Tried to play some pros, and I was at the academy.
What's that life like? What is the process of minting new professional tennis players like?
Well, most of them are pretty wealthy unless they're on a scholarship. But the place that I was at, so they do whatever minimal schooling that they do.
Yeah,
and it's just
so
tennis,
rich kids, a lot of rich kids.
Yeah, there's kids on scholarship too.
Yeah,
just.
Is there a sense of I don't know? Not all of us are going to get out of here alive and make it to the pros. Or is there a competitive? Do you feel like a tiger's den in there?
Yeah, it was very, very competitive, very cutthroat.
Yeah. So when you did go to law school, where did you go?
I went to Mercer in Macon.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, that's how we got to
and
Georgia.
I didn't really have culture shock because I was already familiar with the South. And there was actually people from South Florida there. There were people that I knew from my tennis background that happened to be in that class.
Oh, wow.
It was bizarre. We had like 4 or 5 high-level tennis players in this small class. And anyway, I just loved it. I mean, it was so thought-provoking. And I mean, I used to speak up in class, which I never really did before. And then the whole drive home, I'd be thinking about what I could have said better. And then I was like, be prepared. I got into like studying for a while, like I'd never done before, man. I basically, I'd study from morning till night. I built up those kind of muscles, just like you do with like muscles at the gym or muscles to run or something like that. And it was very satisfying for a while.
Well, I would, if maybe this is an overreach, but it seemed I wouldn't have thought of tennis and law school as being in any way similar, but there really is. It's like a thwack, like, oh man, I wish I had just zinged him with this fact or whatever after the fact.
Yeah, I mean, if you're competitive and you're an achiever, or you just are driven, it's cross disciplines. It crosses disciplines.
It does seem like professional athlete and lawyer tend to attract similar aggressive sort of personalities in a way that maybe music is a little bit more laid back. But maybe I'm misunderstanding.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's some pretty mellow. There's some chill lawyers and there's some real aggressive music people. I think people are people.
But I guess the entire time from age 15 on, there was never a time you weren't in a band in your free time.
Yeah, there was times I was not in a band. I would just keep coming back to it. Like I said, I would just like go balls to the wall, tennis, live it, sleep it, eat it, drink it, whatever. And then I get a little burned out, or I'd have moved somehow I'd go to another circumstance and I'd get back into music again. Music was always there, as something at least I listened to. It was like, I was young like everybody else, just like totally blasting my stereo in my car and, just playing music super loud. And it meant so much to me. Like I identified with it, just like other young people.
So as you're nearing, getting your law degree, do you have a strong sense of where you want to go? Like my brother-in-law is also an attorney and we all expected him to hang a shingle and open his own business, but he found a different path. Did you have a strong sense like that you wanted to be independent or?
No. Well, I became a lawyer. I always thought I was going to be a criminal lawyer. I was a criminal justice major, and I'm showing my age, but there was a show called Perry Mason, and he was a criminal.
Oh yeah, no, my mom raised me on Perry Mason.
I love Perry Mason, and I thought he was he was pretty cool.
You want to make people cry and confess on the stand.
But
and it's an Ozzy song, right?
What?
Isn't there a Perry Mason song?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. But I ended up going in the field that I got a job in. I got a job with a pretty big firm in Atlanta doing insurance defense, which is the other side of personal injury, where you represent the people who are getting sued.
Yeah.
So and I know that there and you can educate me on this, but I've heard that there's sort of some attorneys drift into just give me the paperwork, I'll look it over and that kind of stuff. And other people are like, no, I'm ready for the big show. I want to get up in front of everyone and give speeches or whatever. I'm assuming that with your competitive nature and your desire to punch the sky, that you drifted towards the latter.
I enjoyed trying cases as a new attorney. I got the opportunity. They let me start with smaller ones and then move up to larger ones. And I enjoyed, I was solo. I was working for a big firm, but I would go there by myself. And I enjoyed trying cases and I had good success. But after I did that for a while, it wasn't like I wanted to keep doing it. It's like once I proved that I could do it, I was kind of moving on. And, I switched sides and I do personal injury now. And that's just because I get to help people more than the insurance company. But, in all honesty, I've never, except for the beginning, I never really loved being a lawyer.
Through school, that was where your love was the most.
I loved law school more than I loved being a lawyer, but I did like really being a lawyer. It was really cool to kind of experience working for a larger firm and kind of being, it's kind of like a golden boy there a little bit, and it was part of it because I worked it, and I was really into it. I wanted to experience what that was.
Yeah.
But once I did, I was like, well, I really don't want to do that for 35 more years or something. I'd look at these older guys that were in the corner offices and stuff, and I was close with them. They would take me around and do stuff with me socially or whatever. I was definitely in the fold. I was on the path to be a partner, but
run up the expense cards.
But I saw their life and I was like, that's not the life that I'm looking for. That's a little too slow and conservative for me.
Yeah. So what's the moment that you snap and decide to start running instead of walking?
I had a great mentor. And I worked just for him, and I loved him. He was like a father to me. He still checks up on me once in a while. And he was probably the best lawyer in Atlanta, I thought, the best trial lawyer. And he started letting another guy give me some work. And I did not like it. And I remember one day, I put on a suit and tie, went to the office.
This is pre-dreads?
Pre-dreads, yeah. I used to have the short hair and the power tie and all that stuff.
Okay, so you were at a central casting Atlanta lawyer.
And I just left. We're at my desk and I was kind of getting like an anxiety attack. Went home. I think it might take my jacket off, but still had the rest of my suit on. Just got in bed in the fetal position. And I gave notice very soon thereafter and went out on my own.
So how long between that moment where you're reassessing your entire life and you landing here in Austin?
A couple of years. Yeah, I went on my own and then I met my wife in Atlanta and she wanted to get out and I was fine with that. And we did a tour of the Northwest to see if we wanted to move there. I'd already been to Austin for South by Southwest because I was involved with music and I actually was a lawyer for people that had a management company. I was the lawyer for them. Yeah. So they brought me here. And that's when South by Southwest was tiny.
Yeah.
You'd walk in and out of just bars on 6th Street and you'd have your written program.
Oh, okay.
And that was that. That's all it was. So I knew, so Austin went out. It was just by chance that we picked Austin. We moved here in 96 and the city's been great to me.
Okay, so wait a minute. I need to know, what were the other Northwestern cities that in this branching realities, like there's the David Komie attorney that rocks Billboard in what other cities?
Well, I didn't.
What was on the short list?
I didn't like California.
Yeah.
I didn't like California. I thought they were like aggressively liberal. Like, I'm liberal about a lot of things, but I just felt weird there. And as soon as I crossed the border into Oregon, I automatically felt a relaxation.
Yeah.
So we were looking at Portland and Eugene.
Okay.
And Portland more so. And then I'm glad. I think Portland has kind of gone to shit, and Austin is just on the rise.
Boy, you're not kidding, man. The hottest market in the nation.
Sure, yeah.
So you
get wrecked, Portland.
You arrive in '96, and in my imagination, you're still short-haired and still fairly conservative in your appearance.
Well, I started growing my hair once I went in my own firm. When I started my own firm, and I was in a band. That was the hardest thing about leaving. Is I had a band, and I was playing bass and singing in a band, and we were just beginning to get somewhere. So I came here, and I had just gotten a piece of a very large settlement. I had brought in a case into my old firm, and it turned out, just lucky that it turned out to be huge. And so they gave me a check, what I thought was
all the money in the world.
All the money in the world, yeah. So I came here, and I actually started a record company.
I was so fascinated because the more you talked about, and then we walked in, and for folks who are only listening because it's audio only, like you've got stuff here up on the wall that shows like a legacy of you like being active in music. I'm like, okay, so if it's not if the attorney that rocks is not like a gimmick in the way that like the crime smasher that like has like a billboard is.
All right, like what he's trying to say is like before you showed up, Justin looked at this and literally turned to me and said, "Mike, dude, this dude really rocks."
This dude really rocks. But like you would imagine that if you are in it, it's not like the music industry is bereft of lawyers. Like there is a tremendous amount of lawyers in the music industry. So that's where you start. I'm interested to hear that.
Yeah, well, there was still a music business to be had.
Yeah.
This was in '96. And well, the long story short is I signed a couple of bands, put out some records, and I ended up, out of necessity, kind of managing them too. And the money that I thought was such a huge amount started to get a little bit lower than I felt comfortable.
Gotcha.
So I took there's reciprocity I was licensed in Georgia.
Okay.
So all I had to do was take an ethics exam here, and I was licensed. So I did that. And then I did a commercial. I don't know if you guys ever saw the TV commercial. It's an old one.
Some people say I don't look like a lawyer.
But David Komie is a lawyer. For over 5 years, he represented big insurance companies.
For years, I defended insurance companies, but now I work for you. So if you've been injured and you have to deal with an insurance company, don't you think that what I know might be very helpful to you?
Auto injuries, other accidents, medical malpractice. Call David now. Get a free consultation.
So I don't look like a lawyer, but it helps me sneak up on them.
Call David Komie at 467.
But I was wearing a tie and everything like that. And Austin was still pretty small. And anyway, I was like, I don't know anybody here. I shared space with somebody.
Yeah.
And then the phone just lit up. And I had to get my own space and get employees, and it just kind of took off.
So there was a moment where just trying something seems to have resonated, where it's like, ooh, people really like the idea of somebody on their side who can speak the language of attorneys.
I actually hired an ad guy, and he said, maybe just don't do like everybody else does. Let's emphasize that. And I was like, okay, let's do it. I didn't write the commercial. I was a little embarrassed by it, but it worked.
So so there is an ad strategy to it that's like, all right,
then
everybody's going to be like, I'm fighting for you, and you're going to look different because you have dreads. And
I emphasize the fact that I worked for the insurance companies. I was an insurance defense lawyer.
I used to be
5 years.
one of them. Now I'm one of you. Yeah.
And it was very true and legit. It gives, to this day, it gives you kind of an understanding and you know how to make them uncomfortable.
Why were you embarrassed by it?
Because even though I'm on these billboards and stuff, I'm pretty much a private person.
Yeah.
And it put myself out there as something different. I'm used to it now.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was kind of a newer person in a new town. And
that's fascinating.
Was it because it was one-dimensional and you didn't, that you felt like boxed in with it?
I wouldn't have written the exact same words.
Yeah.
What kind of ad spend was it? Like television?
Oh, dude, that commercial cost me $500.
Yeah.
The actual video.
Production, yeah.
And then it was way cheaper to be on TV then. It was like I could get ad spots, $12, $15. It was
What?
Yeah, it was really cheap.
15 for like for it to run?
For it to run, yeah, it was different. It was different. I actually had a tape that you took to the station and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But we'd play. I wouldn't play like Super Bowl or anything like that.
No.
It'd be like daytime TV where you're trying to reach the people who are kind of sitting around, maybe not the most motivated people in the world. They're watching,
Price is Right.
Price is Right, or Judge Judy on Tuesday at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Well, and I've heard, and you can maybe settle this myth for me, that the reason that is a sweet spot for attorney ads is because if you're laid up, you're watching daytime television because you've been injured.
That's one. That's one theory.
That and the fact that it's $15 to run during that time, apparently.
Yeah, my guy would help me place him. He did an excellent job. He's since retired, but he had been in the business for a really long time, and he got a lot of attention because I got a lot of attention. And it was just, we were both pleasantly surprised.
So at this point, does your ad guy come to you and say like, so when's the sequel coming out?
No, he just ran them. And
Okay.
So how long did that one commercial, that original, I don't look like a lawyer because it helps me sneak up on him. How long does that run? What was the life cycle of it?
I ran it all the way till I left Austin for 3 years in 2005.
What? So that runs from what,
96 to 2005.
It may have been 97.
Okay, yeah.
97 to 05.
No changes.
No changes.
$500
and that's
commercial.
your career, like, boom. You are off to the races.
I had more business than I wanted, really, or I needed.
You're turning stuff away.
No, I didn't really turn it away, but, it's hard to turn it away, but the more cases you have, the more headaches you have.
Sure. Yeah. Turn away is probably the wrong
And
phrasing
also,
for it.
like, you guys do referrals, and you're like, I know a guy that can help you. Isn't that how lawyering works?
I mean, yeah, there's some networking things that go on with other lawyers and doctors.
Sure. But you are exploding, and so you get to 05.
To me, it was exploding because I didn't know anybody.
So,
and I'm sharing space, and I was just hoping, to get some work.
Yeah.
But the phone ran off the hook. I had to get out of that office that I was sharing space with. I was making them crazy. I had to get my own space. Had to get employees to answer the phone. Hired my first lawyer.
What happened in 2005?
So in about 2001. So I was competing in tennis again, but I was competing as a
while you're
I was one of
the attorney that serves. The attorney that's sneaky.
I was one of the top players in Texas.
Get out.
And I became assistant coach for the UT men's tennis team.
Get out.
So I did that for 3 or 4 years. I may have been, I think it's 4. And then I loved it. And once again, I thought I had plenty of money. And but the job at FAU where I played came open for the head coaching job.
Oh, wow.
So I applied and I got it.
I did not know you were a head coach at FAU.
I sold my practice and went to Florida for 3 years.
So once you sell a practice, because obviously you're back here now, when you come back, you just have to create a new corporation or something, or?
It was kind of complicated because when I sold it, the other person felt like they had rights to my name and things like that. So he
grew out dreadlocks, and
there was a lawyer that I hired involved. But that once I got that issue out of the way, which happened pretty quickly, then I started. Oh no, I actually went and had an old buddy of mine. He already had an office all set up, and he was downsizing, and I was like, well, bring me in. I'm good at getting cases. So I had a partnership that lasted about 9 years.
So when you did come back, that would have been what, 7 or 8?
08 or so.
So is that where the billboard comes in?
Yeah. So when I came back, everything had changed. My $500 ad. I think we tried to run it. It wasn't doing the same, but you had these huge players that had happened while I was gone, had come in, and they were spending more in a month than I was spending in 3 years.
Wow.
And I remember.
Is that just like a population thing? Like there's just more people here, or the legal scene had just kind of descended upon Austin?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened. But it definitely, the city grew a lot while I was gone. 05 to 08, the city exploded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot more money, and I guess, and then these lawyers, who I think some of them I knew of before, but we were all equal footing. They had just reinvested and done all this stuff, and I'm out doing tennis stuff. So I come back, and I didn't really have the means or the desire to compete with them like that. So I remember I was sitting in traffic. Traffic had exploded while I was gone too. And I'm looking over and I'm stuck. And then I look over and I see the billboards. I'm looking at a billboard, and I realize there's not a single lawyer billboard in this town.
And of course, this is already at a time when Austin is increasingly notoriously having stopped traffic, and billboards seem smarter and smarter by the moment.
So I was like, well, you know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do a billboard, and I'm going to do it way outside the box, so that while people are sitting here like I am, they're gonna be like,
What the fuck is that?
yes. So everybody will see, and then that campaign started working.
So it was your idea. So the television ad, you got kind of pressured into, and you weren't really comfortable with, but at some point it snapped, and you were like, no, we're going to go even farther.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was pressured, and I wouldn't say that I wasn't comfortable. It just was. I was a little embarrassed.
Yeah,
I was a little embarrassed by it. And when people bring it up now and they do it affectionately, I still have like this little bit of embarrassment
like
about
a twinge.
The billboards I think are cool, and I actually had a dream. And my dream, it was you've seen that billboard with the leather jacket and stuff and my hair down.
Yeah,
I got that idea. I had a dream. It was like clear as day. And that's the way that I was dressed, and that's what I had on. And I was standing next to some friends of mine, and we were out in the hill country. We were just kind of reminiscing about, couldn't believe how popular all this stuff had become.
Well, and so you have a.
So I copied that. My wife took that picture on our back deck at our old house.
Oh,
That's
really?
so
So
amazing.
that wasn't like did you know it was for the billboard? Oh, okay, yeah. But it was just your wife that it wasn't a pro
No,
photo
it was
shoot
probably
or
like
anything.
an iPhone 2 or something.
Well, and before you pulled the trigger on this billboard, is there any hesitation about this is going to be like, or is there any hint in your gut that this is going to take off the way it did?
Well, I had the dream that I had, and I'm not like into that kind of stuff. I don't like study dreams, or I'm not into astrology or anything like that. But it felt strong, and I was like, well, I got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You know, you sign a year contract. The first billboards that I did, so I would do them in the bad areas of town where they were cheaper. I think my first billboard was $350 a month. So we put it out there, and then the response.
Well, I mean, talk about a great Venn diagram of like cheaper billboards at bad areas and personal injury. like that seems like an ideal place for a personal injury billboard.
It was my demographic, you know. I get a little bit of stuff from really nice areas now because I'm older, but at the time, no, it wasn't. You know, the CEO who lived in Westlake or Tarrytown was not the guy that was calling me for his injury case.
Right.
Yeah.
So you pull the trigger and you start rolling out the billboards. At what point do you realize, like, is there one moment that you're like, oh, there's something really happening here?
Yeah, the phone, it didn't explode like it did like my TV commercials. My TV commercials, you could know when my TV ad ran back in like the 90s because the phone lines would light up.
Yeah.
So this was what I liked about the billboards is some of them were lit, so they were out there 24/7. I knew right now there was people looking at that stuff. So it was slow and steady. And then what I just wanted to make sure, since I had let the practice go, that I just did a really great job and I really had my head in the game. really help people get well and get paid and do stuff like that. And so the referrals started going too. And it's just both were just really, to be honest, lucky as hell and probably random.
So this is what I really want to get your opinion on, because from my perspective, as just a viewer of daytime television and driver of a car where you see ads, the almost wrestling personas of personal injury attorneys specifically is something that is like a part of the art form of that advertisement. I had always kind of looked at you as a part of that. I did not realize that you had the kind of backstory that you have. But when you look at like the law extractor, like, and there's like a lightning bolt behind somebody's head, like, how do you view those ads? Like, are they hokey, or are they? Do you understand, like, hey, that's a man trying to get paid?
Both. Both. I mean, I'm not impressed. I'm not depressed. You know, they do what they do.
Yeah.
I'm not aggressive like that. And some of them really love what they do, love their persona, all that kind of stuff. I've done what I've done because I have mouths to feed, and out of just the reality of being the breadwinner. Yeah. And I've never loved being an attorney except for maybe in the beginning. And it's what I do. I know how to be successful at it. I've always, the other things in my life are things that I have a lot more passion about. Sports. Now it's pickleball.
Pickleball.
Yeah. Now it's pickleball. And
are we like 2 years away from you decamping to become a pickleball professional player? Or
also, what is pickleball?
Pickleball is it's played on it looks like a tennis court, but it's smaller. And there's an area you can't go in that's called the kitchen. You play with like a wiffle ball, and you play with like a paddle. And so it's a combination of basically between like tennis, ping pong, and maybe badminton or something.
Is it similar to squash where you hit the ball and you expect it to go farther and it doesn't?
No.
Or is it smaller? Or
I think you're playing against other people. Yeah. So like,
right.
Yeah.
No. But I mean, like, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, in tennis, you whack a thing, it's going to go to the moon, you know. But
it doesn't go as far because it's a wiffle ball.
Yeah.
But it's the fastest growing sport in America.
Really?
Yeah. And after I played it the first time, I realized that my 40,000 hours of tennis, which I had not done anything in tennis for 17 years because I blew out my shoulder. I was like, I can do this. I just have to rekindle these skills that I have from all the way from my childhood. Yeah. And I loved it. And then within 2 weeks of playing it, I started the process of building a court at my house, because the courts around here, South Austin Rec Center and Bolden Acres, there's waiting lists and you get kicked off, and there's just too many players.
Because
and not
it's
enough
too
courts.
hot.
It's the hottest sport that there is, and I loved it. So now I'm playing tournaments, and I'm about to travel again for the first time. I used to travel all the time playing tennis and traveling.
So you're still going pro in pickleball.
Yeah, actually, there's senior pro. You know, I mean, the thing is, it's 50 and over.
Yep.
And I'm 58, so I kind of missed the little
sweet spot window where you can just dominate.
Yeah. So, but still, the fact that I'm excited about it like I was when I was a kid. Can't wait. I've got a tournament this weekend, and one weekend after that. Then Sam and I were traveling to Alabama to play the national indoors. So as somebody who desperately is looking for, as we get out of COVID, to something to plug into, how would one get into the pickleball scene here in Austin? I would start at Austin Tennis Center or South, but because they've got tons of players and there's always something going on. Get yourself a cheap paddle and go out there.
Start pickling.
Everybody I know that plays it gets hooked.
And what do you think is the attraction of it? Is it that
it's so much fun. So you don't have an overhead serve. So like, in tennis, somebody's got a really huge serve and you can't return it.
Right, yeah.
And tennis is so technical. If your technique's not right, sometimes you can't hit the ball. People from all different backgrounds, or even with no racket or paddle sports backgrounds, can hit the ball and have fun. And then there's that area by the net that's called the kitchen where you can't go in. So nobody's going to go on top of the net and just smash it down. And it's a great equalizer. So an old person can compete with a young person. and it's more about strategy and.
Does I've been getting into ping pong lately. Does spin matter a lot in pickleball?
Yeah, it does. Some of the best players are ping pong players.
And so I guess the thing to imagine it as is more ping pong writ large, but you can't get right up on the net.
And it can't really ping pong can't really get on top of that either because you can't reach it.
Right.
So it's kind of like that. And you serve underhand. And
I think you're making a very good case for pickleball. I'm very excited.
All right. I'm going to have to drag you back to law here as we wrap up.
You want to talk about the thing I'm least passionate about?
No. This is something that has been a fascination for us on our show, and that is, for whatever reason, the legal profession has created some of the best Zoom fails of our pandemic year. Well, I mean, first the big one was the cat lawyer. Are you up on these? Have you followed these? Have they crossed your radar?
Oh yeah, somebody showed me that the cat. He was talking to a judge, and there was a cat in his.
Well, he was. It was a filter that had eye movements and an animated mouth, and he didn't realize that it was on. And I
saw that.
Have you had any challenges with Zoom courtroom stuff? Have you seen anything in your?
Because my lawyers do it.
Your lawyers do it. You are here to preside. You are the pope that rocks.
I have my role, and that's not one of them.
Gotcha. So these haven't necessarily, aside from maybe somebody showing you on their phone, kind of crossed your radar.
No, and I don't really follow law stuff or legal stuff. Most of my friends are not lawyers.
Sure. Well, yeah. I mean, these are things, for whatever reason, the public has become fascinated between that and then people in their cars trying to zoom in. I guess because as people have either had a challenge with the technology or realized I can do it from bed. It was a South Florida story where the judge was yelling at people to stop zooming in from their beds, that they should be dressed appropriately as they would be for court.
I mean, what I think has happened is that it's shown that we can function without having to, go to the courthouse and fight traffic and fight for parking. Yeah. There's other ways to do things. I let some of my employees, they still can work remote 1 day a week. We figured out that we could survive with that. I think there was some beneficial things, I think commercial real estate may have an issue in the future because
a little bit.
But I don't really have any really good funny Zoom stories or funny lawyer stories or anything like that. People ask me that. I get interviewed, here and there.
I think it's just because it's become a thing beyond law. And I guess it's funny to people because there's stakes. Because it's not just oops, I accidentally did it on a phone call with my friend. It's here's somebody's job, and there's a judge, and they're dressed different, so immediately that they're in trouble because they wrote the wrong name on their Zoom account or whatever.
So how big is a pickleball court?
I think you can fit 2.5 of them on a tennis court.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's perfect.
And a lot of people play doubles.
Yep.
So you can be out of shape.
I'm thinking about the septic field, the grass field.
You're gonna make a pickleball court.
Yeah. No, I think I've been converted.
Brian's production facility is literally right down the road from here.
So what happened was COVID happened, and all of my team worked remotely, and all of a sudden we have this giant production facility, and so it's me and my ops manager, and we're like, let's get a ping pong table, and it's been a year of ping pong getting better and better, but I resent him for being better than me because he's a sports person, and so now I'm just like, man, we're gonna build a pickleball field.
Are you gonna secret train?
Well, the thing about pickleball, you could if you had a flat asphalt surface, you could even just tape the lines and get a temporary net.
Is it normally a grass field or
no? It's like a tennis court.
Yeah,
and you do get a bounce on it though.
Yeah, no, the pickleball doesn't bounce as high as a tennis ball at all.
Right,
but you get used to that.
Yeah. No, last time I was in Vegas, there was a whole big thing where it was downtown. They just had this massive class of people that were doing pickleball, and I had never heard of it, but I watched people play it. I couldn't get in on it because it was so popular and sold out or whatever. But
there was a pro tournament down there.
Okay, yeah. Maybe it was in conjunction with that, but it's certainly a big thing. People loved it.
I love it. I love it.
Just a pitch. This has been my favorite thing that we found out about David Komie is that
Yes.
he loves pickleball.
Pickleball enthusiast.
Like,
no,
and-
professional. Sorry,
Exactly.
touring professional.
And I know you don't
Not
want to
quite.
you don't want to mess with success. But what about a billboard that says David Komie, the attorney that rocks, and then real small, and also loves pickleball?
And also loves pickleball.
So it's funny you say that because I've been practicing law 32 years,
yeah.
and I'm not renewing my billboards.
Oh no!
Is this news? Have you
Are we
informed the
breaking
public?
news?
Now the people that put up my billboards know that because they're coming up for renewal. I don't know. I mean, I've got 25 or whatever. And they're
Yeah.
like, these are, but I've told a few people, but not too many. I mean, I'm good. As far as
So is this the public persona of David Komie, kind of or not David Komie, but the attorney that rocks in all capital letters, like kind of being sunset, or
well, I want less to do. I don't.
more to pickle?
Yeah, my brother is a partner here.
Gotcha.
And he's in agreement. We have a lot of cases. So if we had 1/5 as many,
Yeah.
and we were really cherry picked them, and we had less crap to do.
Gotcha.
Well,
I think we'd all be
and at
happier.
this point, you've got. The reputation glow is gonna. It's like it stays bright a long time after the sun goes down.
I still get I'll still get new cases with
Sure,
no billboards.
Yeah.
I mean,
Is that freeing? Like immediately once you said that, like this like smile kind of crossed your face.
well, it's the fact that I'm moving away from the practice.
Yeah.
I'm moving toward. I have 2 kids. My oldest starts college next year, and my daughter, who I adopted, she's got 2 more years, and then she's probably going to go back to Latvia, where we adopted her from, for at least a while.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm looking to travel, and I'm looking to travel with my wife to see every place we can see, and then also to travel to play pickleball and stuff like that. And I want my day to be more concerned about getting to the gym and playing pickleball and going out to dinner or going doing something fun.
As opposed to the rigid world that a lawyer, a hugely successful lawyer demands.
I mean, I start getting texts and emails. Well, they come at all times, but I can usually tell when about 8:30 starts rolling around.
Then
Yeah, and I've been doing it 32 years. I've done my time.
That's I didn't know that we were actually getting like a full
scoop.
Yeah.
And that's so wonderful because it's like I can definitely relate to the sense of like you do a thing for however long, and it's like it's not like you're gonna scrub it from the universe or you're embarrassed of it. It's just you're just gonna put it on the shelf and you're gonna reap the rewards from it and do what you truly follow your passion and do the important stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to close shop or anything like that because my brother is a partner and he still has to make his money. But we're just going to get a point that he's comfortable with, and where I can go away for if I'm gone for a month and don't want to be reached. Everything's still cool.
Quick question. Do you, I mean, obviously you're so recognizable. You have such an iconic look. Do you tire of being recognized or having people, do they approach you and shout your name
And
or
ask you
whatever?
to rock on command?
Yeah.
They used to do it more like that when I was younger. I don't know, because I go to the same places all the time. So there's the same people seeing me. They know me,
True story. I was working with a personal trainer, and I was midway through a weight training session, and my personal trainer says, "Don't turn around." But that's David Komie. I'm like, I'm not turning around, and I'm like, you mean the attorney that rocks? And she goes, yeah. And so apparently we go to the same gym.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a regular person, but I do sometimes like being out of town, being anonymous. But it's weird. I've been recognized in Virgin Islands and
Oh, really?
like it's just weird places out of nowhere.
Is that the weirdest place that you've been recognized?
I've been out of the country and been recognized, and that always surprises me.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's pickleball and the kids for a hot minute, and billboards fading away.
And I still got music going on.
Oh, of course, always rocking.
Yeah, I've got a new band that's I'm having a lot of fun with.
Do
What-
you
what-
do you
what-
advertise? Do you leverage your local celebrity to get people to shows, or do you just let that
It was kind of the
organically
other way
grow?
around.
Yeah.
It's kind of the other way around. I would play the shows. I'd play the shows, and then they'd realize that, well, he really does rock, just like you said.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm doing it a long time. I'm not shitty, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
And there's the lawyer bands out there that are really bad.
Is that like a thing? Like lawyers like get money and then
Yeah.
realize like, oh hell, I want to start a band.
Yeah, and that's what everybody pictured me to be. But I play with professional musicians, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's one of the things that has really come out, and I'm so glad that we did this interview because the authenticity of like. In a world where so many people grab a gimmick, the fact that the photo was shot on an iPhone 2 and it's like, no, I just rock is
It's just
awesome.
just what it is.
Man, if I would love to come see one of your shows, but do you make that public of where you're going to be, or?
Yeah, well, I've got a new band. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's called Hillbilly Killbox, and it's punk rock with a lot of humor.
Nice.
In all the
Yeah.
way in.
Yeah, and just having a lot of fun with these guys.
And are you singing, playing bass? Because you said you did both before.
Yeah, I'm not playing bass. I'm just singing.
Just singing, just the front man.
Yeah, front man.
Is that a loaded term?
That makes me. That makes me a little. uncomfortable,
You just
too.
gave him.
Oh wow! All right, yeah.
'cause
Sorry.
it's like
So anyway, pickleball.
Yeah.
It's really great.
So Hillbilly Killbox, and how long you been rolling with that?
started it during COVID. Because I had another band called Dharma Kings, which I've had for years and years, but they wouldn't get together during COVID, so I kind of
Had to
went
have
to doing
something to
something
do.
else. And now the other one seems like super serious,
Yeah.
and this one seems a lot more fun. I actually have to let those other guys know they're finally ready to play again. That
you're out.
that I'm
you're-
out.
We're
Yeah.
breaking so much news right now.
And while we're on the topic, just yesterday we are having a discussion about like as COVID, recedes, there's different, especially for a public persona. It's like, are you cool with being the guy saying everybody get together and kiss each other on the mouths? Come to my show. Is there any of the? How do you see that rolling out, or is that even a factor for you?
Well, it's funny. So we've recorded 4 songs, and I think they're amusing, and but we only have 4 songs, so we're not ready to play out anyway. So by the time
got it.
everything, we got to have like 12 to 15 songs because they're shorter of original music before we're ready to play. And I'm working on it tonight with them, but it takes a while.
What, on Spotify everyone can get it, or?
Yeah, we have 2 songs out on Spotify. There's a video that's out on YouTube. All the Dharma King stuff is out.
Yeah,
I've
everywhere.
done 5 records.
What is the? It's hard to say what is the one thing that you're most proud of, but what are a couple of songs that you've done that you're particularly proud of?
So Dharma Kings, Automatic Samurai, In Your Head. There's a video of the Warlock of us playing when we opened for Ghostland Observatory, and there are a couple famous guitar players on stage with me. And we were playing to about 10,000 people. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
That's awesome.
There's some good moments. But yeah, I'd say those 2 songs. The whole what's it called? T-0 record. It's produced by my friend John Moyer. He's the bass player for Disturbed, and we spent a whole week with him nonstop and put out this record. That's
Was there? I mean, you mentioned playing for 10,000 people. I would imagine that there are a couple of moments that jump out as these iconic hard rocking, like just complete flow state, blowing minds. Do you have any of those tales to share?
so things that I remember. That was a really good show opening for Ghostland, and it was packed. We had a good show one time opening for Cypress Hill. These are Bat Fest in Austin, and then we went and opened for Rat in the Paramount in New York,
When was this?
It was the night that Stephen Piercy made national news because he kind of sat down while he was playing because they said he was all messed up, like on drugs or whatever, but he was on painkillers because he needed a knee replacement. I have all these pictures. We were hanging out with him. He actually kind of wanted us to go and play with him some more. He got kind of attached to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a good memory. One time we opened up at what's the one where the Rot Rally?
Okay.
We played,
yeah,
we played
yeah.
on Congress, and we opened for Asleep at the Wheel.
Holy cow.
And I remember we were pretty far away from the Capitol, but it was just people all the way to the Capitol as far as I could see, and then left and right down whatever. I couldn't see the end of the people.
That has to be amazing. And you're seeing over the crowd the capital of Texas.
Yeah.
That's just
That's
an
gotta be an
iconic
iconic,
Austin moment, right?
Yeah, and they weren't really there to see me, but we did well enough where they were entertained and they enjoyed it.
Yeah. Oh no! In that spot, if they care, you won. Like if they're not on their phone or just screwing around, then you are golden.
There is something, I do magic and I open for a lot of people and there's something about an audience that isn't there to see you that makes it feel so triumphant when by the end of your set, you've won them over. It's like an audition. And Rot Rally would be, I would imagine, a trial by fire if they're not there to see you.
Yeah, it just it just happened so quick. It's like I had to get through all the people to get up on the stage and just start playing. And I stopped at one point and I just couldn't see any of the people. And I was like, if I think I said something like, this is it. It's like if I never got to play music again, this is just worth it. I appreciate everybody. And I was like, it was a special moment.
There's something we've talked about how you never, oftentimes you don't get to ever know what was your best moment, and that's got to be pretty rad that it was so obviously obvious to you. That
Cinematic.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd ever play again where I couldn't see the end of the people. So I kind of knew it.
Well, we're coming up on an hour. Is there anything you want to promote or any good vibes?
He's looking. Yeah, he's got a. I mean, I guess that.
I got nothing to sell.
No, that's
fine.
great.
No, that's amazing. Well,
this is what happens when you won so hard. There's nothing left to. You go play pickleball, and I'm serious. I'm gonna hit stop, and I'm gonna quiz about pickleball. Nonstop.
Even more pickleball.
Yeah, I got pickleball at 3:30 today. So
there we go. David, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk to us. I'm sure everybody is very excited to hear, and I'm sure anybody who is used to looking at your face on the highway start enjoying it now because these are the last days here.
they'll be down probably all of them down within the next probably 8 or 9 months.
Wow.
David, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much,
guys.
David.
Yeah.
Champion.
Milk is the drink that he likes best. He likes it straight from the breast. Just one squirt now and he's reborn. Lactating babes is his secret porn. Got milk. When she delivers her white shower, hose him down now like he's a pig. Hose him down while he pulls on his rig. Got milk. Got milk. Got milk. you pass the tissues. He's got deep-seated mommy issues. Just one squirt now and he's in heaven. He's on ex-wife number 7. Got milk. Got milk. Got milk.
There have been countless literary descriptions of men miraculously breastfeeding. There is a short anecdote of a baby suckling an Englishman for sustenance while on board a ship. A little anthropological evidence documented suggests it is possible.
It's 1896.
Milk is the drink